In 1929, Czech painter, illustrator, and co-inventor of the word robot, Josef Čapek, published a classic children's book called The Adventures of Puss and Pup, a collection of short stories about a cat and a dog running a household together. Probably the most iconic of the stories is that of them making a cake. Because they wanted the tastiest cake, they put only the tastiest ingredients in. Flour, milk, eggs, a pinch of salt, and some sugar. But they also liked soft cheese, so they added in soft cheese. And because she is a cat and cats like mice, Puss added some mice. Pup, of course, added some bones, because he is a dog. And they added chocolate, and cream, and gravy, vinegar, raisins, sauerkraut, all the things that were very tasty, and that they liked a lot. You probably know where I'm going with this, but if you're asking, wait, I thought this was a Minecraft video. Well, hi, I'm Krisha, and I've been playing Minecraft since beta 1.8.1. I love the game, and even my grievances with it won't stop me from adoring the creative freedom and the simple joy of placing colorful cubes on the screen. But it has been 13 years. I have changed, and so has the game. There are multiple ways that people divide the different eras of Minecraft, and each era featured a different approach to development from Mojang. Pre-alpha through around 1.4 was the lawless era. Mojang was mostly just Notch and a couple other guys adding stuff to the game to make it about as close to a complete package as they could get. 1.4 to 1.12 was the uncertain era. Updates were smaller and very unfocused. Not necessarily bad, all of them brought in cool features, but minimal and scattershot. At that time, the community's interest in the game was waning, but 1.13, the update Aquatic, marked the beginning of a new golden age of Minecraft updates. This update greatly altered the Minecraft world. Oceans are a significant part of the overworld that you see and interact with very often, and I honestly can't imagine going back to the plain gravelly seas we used to have. The Village and Pillage update likewise changed a lot about how villages and villagers work, and while the trading system still needs a lot of work, which may or may not be coming soon, it's at least a bit more consistent and less random and frustrating than it used to be. And of course, we got the Nether update. It was massive, it added so much needed diversity to the Nether, while keeping its signature Mojang quirkiness. The last of the big recent updates was Caves and Cliffs, somewhat infamous due to its staggered release, thanks COVID, but the world generation it gave us is actually breathtaking. Between those updates there were of course the smaller ones. Buzzy Bees was not a particularly riveting update, but hey, honey is very useful. But since the end of Caves and Cliffs the community has been disgruntled. The Wild update was actually pretty mild, with its most interesting features, the ancient city and its related stuff, being holdovers from Caves and Cliffs. Trails and Tales gave us camels and pottery. I mean, cool. The trial chambers from the Tricky Trials update are cool too, but personally I've never seen one in person. And the the Garden Awakens does give us a kinda cool but somewhat hard to find new biome. I'm not one to call Mojang lazy. Even the updates that have very few features do a lot under the hood. This is just the technical changes in the newest update. However, almost 4 minutes into the video, here's my thesis statement. The staggered and unfocused development of Minecraft over its 15-year history means that many of its features are half-baked or don't mesh well with the rest of the game, and a complete reimagining is in order. By the way, I got the idea for this video long before Cupfan made his list videos, but you should definitely watch those too. Let's talk about the Sniffer. It won the 2022 mob vote, and I personally voted for it too. It's a nice mob, very cute. It sniffs around and digs up ancient flowers that are otherwise unobtainable. But that's it. It's a very hard to find mob, only obtainable through eggs which are hidden in suspicious sand under ocean ruins. I haven't got a Sniffer in survival yet. And because the flowers are purely decorative, I'm not really missing out on anything. Now of course, I'm not the only Minecrafter. There is no doubt a ton of people, including the hermits, that have got big Sniffer farms. But still, the Sniffer is a very missable mob, and missing it doesn't really alter your game experience much. Imagine instead it was pigs, who could dig out ancient seeds. In real life, hogs are already used to sniff out truffles, so why not bring a version of that to Minecraft? Originally, pigs were the only animal to drop meat, with cows only dropping leather, sheep only wool, and chickens only feathers. With steak, chicken and mutton, pigs lost their uniqueness, and being able to be saddled does not really give them an edge, especially since horses exist and are superior in every way. Sniffing out ancient seeds would have given pigs something interesting and unique to do, while being less work for Mojang than a whole new mob. Let's talk about mud. In real life, it is a foundational building material. Ancient people, and even tribal people today, still use regular old mud to make their houses. Hell, mud bricks are still a useful building material for modern houses. Mud is cool in that you don't really need much to make it. Just grab a clump from the bank of a stream or a pond, give it a bit of a shape, place it somewhere in the sun to dry, and you've got a brick or whatever. You can use a mold to shape it properly, and to give it more durability, you can then fire it. But really, good old human hands are enough to work with mud. But of course, Minecraft didn't have mud for the first 13 years of its history, so wood and cobblestone have become the primary materials for both tools and buildings. Here's how mud works in Minecraft. First, you must either find it in one specific biome, the mangrove swamp, or make it. To make mud, you need some dirt and a bottle of water. To make a bottle, you need glass. To make glass, you need sand and a furnace with fuel. Then you can use mud to make clay, for which you need dripstone, or use some wheat to turn it into packed mud and then mud bricks, slabs, stairs and walls. Imagine instead that mud was found in every biome near lakes and on the banks of rivers. Similar to farmland, if it was too far from a water source, it would start getting dry. But if we picked it up, we could shape it or mix it with straw to give it more solidity, then set it to dry. Maybe even put it in a furnace as mentioned to make it a more durable block. Let's talk about enchanting. It's frankly a terrible system. Fish on a Stick made a half-hour long video on why it sucks, which I highly recommend you watch. In short, most of the enchantments are just boring stat increases, the annual mechanics are ridiculous, and you basically need a powerful XP farms to get any sort of decent enchantments. This is one of the most problematic parts of the game, and honestly I personally don't really have a solution. Just watch Fish, it's a good video, mate. But let's talk about hunger. It's the oldest of the features I'll talk about here, being added in beta 1.8. It also kinda sucks. While the player can, through experiment, find out how many hunger bars each food source fills, the saturation value is an incredibly obscure and unknown variable. In case you didn't know, each food has a saturation value that determines how fast your hunger bar starts depleting, and how long you can keep healing from a full hunger bar. It basically means that certain food sources are just inherently superior, even despite seeming to replenish the same amount of hunger, or even less, like when we compare golden carrots to steak. Also, isn't it weird how you can just keep eating nothing but steak? Imagine instead that the game featured a deeper system of stews and meals. Any combination of vegetables and meats with at least one vegetable could be placed inside a bowl and cooked, and would replenish hunger additively, with bonuses based on the food combinations you have. This would not only give people an incentive to use multiple food sources, it would also be a bit more realistic and less annoying, since ideally, one stew would mean not having to eat for at least 10 minutes. There are tons more features that could do with an overhaul like this. Nether fortresses famously didn't get updated with the rest of the Nether. Old dungeons are still the boring little boxes. Old mobs have significantly simpler animations than new mobs. Moss is just kinda weird. Why is that? The simple answer is that Mojang are reluctant to make changes to the game, instead focusing on additions and under the hood tweaks. As for why they do that, I honestly can't tell you. Like I said, I don't believe they are lazy. Adding a new feature is still a lot of work, especially to a saturated game like Minecraft. But if I were to speculate, I guess it's because Mojang are afraid of backlash. While the reaction to a new feature is mostly positive or indifferent, and rarely negative, It's a lot easier for someone to scream, "No, you broke what worked for me, I want the old way back," when you make a huge change. This is why a lot of the new stuff in the new updates is compartmentalized. The trial chambers are one place that you don't need to visit. The Pale Garden is one place that you don't need to visit. Archaeology is a feature that you don't need to use unless you really want them shards. I do, however, think that this worry is overestimated. Of the 10 recent updates, the most beloved ones are the big ones. Update Aquatic, Case and Cliffs, the Nether update, the updates that not only added, but changed the face of the world and the gameplay in a significant way. But of course this is the Minecraft community, we get pissy no matter what. A lot of people, including myself, are disappointed precisely at the compartmentalization of the new features. Unless you really want the maze or just enjoy the challenge of the chambers, Drake Trials is a non-update for you. Likewise with Resin and the Gardens. But, as the title suggests, I don't think just a bunch of big updates would be useful. There's a lot of stuff right now. 42 enchantments, too many mobs for me to bother counting, with variants too. Countless blocks and items, biomes, mechanics, so much that it's not feasible for one person to know it all. Unless you're a Cup fan. I genuinely think that Minecraft 2, if Mojang approached it systematically, would bring a lot of good to the table. It would give them the chance to remove, rearrange and tweak features. One thing they virtually haven't touched is the basic progression. You chop trees, get a wooden pick, dig cobblestone, make stone tools, then iron tools and diamond. They did add netherite, but that's more of an upgrade to diamond than a whole new tier. In Minecraft 2 they could alter the progression greatly, change the strengths of the materials, maybe even add some, change the enchanting system, change the whole biome generation algorithm, change it all. Now sure, a lot of the iconic parts of the game would carry over. I don't think they would be forgiven if creepers suddenly behaved differently. I have a ton of other ideas. Oceans going down to deep slate depths, the 3 decorative stone types forming entire biomes and having tool variants, making campfires a viable alternative to furnaces, quality of life stuff and so on. Perhaps the most controversial is that I would remove item durability, since mending kind of trivializes it, while encouraging grindy XP farms, but I don't want to spend 10 minutes talking about that. But of course there are risks to making a whole new game. While Minecraft has made Mojang and Microsoft a gazillion dollars, especially compared to other games with larger dev teams, making a whole new game is still a huge investment in both money and developer time. If Minecraft 2 was badly received and most people stayed with Minecraft 1, it would be a waste of dev time. I would rather avoid an Overwatch 2 situation. With the new game also comes a new opportunity to monetize. I would be really disappointed if Microsoft came up with an even more predatory system than the marketplace to suck money out of children's pockets. But yeah, even despite these pitfalls, I do still think that the Minecraft brand would benefit from a brand new game, one that would be thoughtfully designed, with all its systems coming together cohesively, rather than being a charmingly flawed patchwork of a passion project turned multi-billion franchise. Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone else, I've been Krisha, and the Elytra was a mistake.